What is up, Packer fans? Back again, week 4. The Packers, 2-1, are going down to Dallas to play against the Cowboys. The Cowboys definitely struggling this year. I think they're 1-2. Don't think they're 0-3, but I got to double check if they're 1-2. But Cowboys did get beat by the Bears quite handily in Chicago. Obviously, Dak Prescott trying to get the ball to CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, high ankle sprain, was out for the game. Looks like he will miss this week against the Packers. Good news for Green Bay, even though I think the Packers should be able to beat teams at full health any Sunday. But this does help Green Bay after coming off a tough loss for the Packers in Cleveland, 13-10 against the Browns. But the Packers looking to rebound this week. I'm hoping the offensive line can kind of bounce back. They had a horrible game against the Browns. Jordan Love didn't play great. Josh Jacobs couldn't get going on the ground because of the offensive line and couldn't get anything going in the pass game. So they really just shut down the run, shut down the pass. Browns defense played really well. So I look for the Packers to kind of bounce back against this Dallas Cowboy defense. Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams looked great against the defense of the Cowboys last week. So I think the Packers offense should kind of get back into form here against this Dallas team, and hopefully Jordan Love can get back on track. He did throw an interception after not throwing a pick in, 12 games. I think Josh Jacobs, he didn't get a touchdown for the first time in something like 12 games. I think Jordan Love's was like 10 games. But for Josh Jacobs not scoring a touchdown, he was right there to kind of tie the record, I think, with LaDainian Tomlinson. But for Josh Jacobs, obviously we need to run the ball. We got to get something going on the ground, and it starts up front with the offensive line. Rasheed Walker played good, but we need more out of him. Left guard was Jordan Morgan most of the game. They moved him around a lot because of the injuries with Zach Tom and Aaron Banks. That really kind of confused the young player, and he had 3 false start penalties in that Browns game. Not great. 14 penalties total for the Packers, so 3 of them by Jordan Morgan. And then Elgin Jenkins playing well at center. Right guard, Sean Ryan playing well at right guard. And then right tackle, we had Zach Tom, and then Dillard came in. I know Anthony Belton was playing out there at times, but I do like this offensive line. They did not play good against the Browns. Then we're going to need them to step up here against the Cowboys and give Jordan Love some time and open some lanes for Josh Jacobs. Only 30 yards on the ground for Jacobs. He did have that nice catch in the pass game, which added to his yard total for the day, but really kind of shut Josh Jacobs down. None of the receivers could get going. Tucker Kraft didn't have a very good day. Matthew Golden did have his best day as a Packer. So I'm looking for this whole offense for the Green Bay to kind of step up and really start doing what they need to do. Josh Jacobs needs to be able to run the ball so play action can get set up, and Jordan Love can get it to his open guys, Wicks and Dobbs and Golden on the outside. Hopefully Tucker Kraft can get back into the flow. I think, the injury kind of scared him a little bit. They held him back a little bit. They didn't have as much set up for him as they usually do. But I thought 10 days going into the Browns, they should have won that game. But anyway, so we're on to Dallas. Dak Prescott playing well. They do have Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders, 2 running backs that have bounced around the league a little bit. They can play. Javonte Williams has played pretty well this year. CeeDee Lamb is going to be doubtful. They do have George Pickens, who's another wide receiver 1, a guy who had a touchdown last week, a guy who I like from the Steelers, came over to Dallas. Jalen Tolbert, another young guy, kind of still developing. But for the Cowboys, their main target this year, or in the last game mostly, was Jake Ferguson, the tight end out of Wisconsin, a guy I like, a guy they paid, and a guy who's probably going to keep seeing the production as long as CeeDee Lamb's not in there. And maybe a good thing for the Cowboys moving forward, get him more in the fold, and then when CeeDee comes back, they have a little bit more of a dynamic offense. But for Green Bay, it'll be, can we stop George Pickens? Can we stop Jake Ferguson? And if we can do that, pretty much shut down this Cowboys offense. The offensive line for the Cowboys is pretty good, though. They do have Tyler Smith at left guard, Tyler Guyton at left tackle. On the right side, they have Tyler Booker. 3 Tylers on that offensive line for the Cowboys, and then Terrence Steele on right tackle, and then center is Brock Hoffman. So really solid offensive line. Cowboys always do that. They try to draft good in the offense, or the offensive line. So we'll see if the Packers defensive front can get after this offense of the Cowboys. Micah Parsons kind of held in check last week. We know Rashawn Gary did get 2 sacks. He's up to, I think, 4.5 on the season. Really good for him. It's really a great start to the season for Rashawn. I just need to see more out of the other guys. The linebackers kind of got lost in the shuffle last week, and not a lot of other playmakers. I know Devontae Wyatt had a little bit of an injury. We need some more push from Carl Brooks and Colby Wooden in the middle. And then I need to start seeing some more flashes out of Lucas Van Ness and some of the other pass rushers. Obviously, so much attention going on to Micah Parsons. They need to be able to step up and make plays. Adrian Cooper had another good game. Quay Walker had another good game, but I want to see them keep developing. They need to be a little bit more dynamic and really shut down the run game. The Browns got almost 100 yards with the rookie last week. So for Green Bay, can we keep kind of developing those guys? And then on the back end, I know I love X, but that interception, again, was a little bit selfish. Could have got the ball at midfield. And then Keyshawn Nixon playing really good football, kind of, got beat a few times against Tillman, but nobody's let up any real big plays for Green Bay on the offensive side of the ball for the other team. But the Packers defense just not making the big plays that we're hoping for. Not a lot of turnovers. That interception was kind of in garbage time at the end of the half. No forced fumbles. The Browns actually made Josh Jacobs fumble at the last, right before the kick was blocked. So Packers need to start developing more turnovers, doing a little bit more on defense. Evan Williams playing well, but I think he had a pass interference call. And then Javon Bullard, I think he's going to be out with a concussion. He got hit in the head pretty hard from Quay Walker trying to make a play, and he probably will be out this week just as a precaution. So then on the outside, Carrington Valentine playing well, Nate Hobbs playing well. I mean, this defense played super well against the Browns. Nobody really was able to get deep on us, and not a lot of big plays on the Browns offense. Obviously, they have Flacco, and their offense is not really top tier, but the Packers, again, doing their job and playing really well. So then on the defensive side of the ball for Cowboys, Sam Williams plays well at the left end, and then they have Dante Fowler, named the Packers players know well. Obviously, Kenny Clark in the middle. He is questionable for the game. I think he came out last week with an injury, so we'll see about him. And then Damone Clark, this guy is a linebacker who I love watching. He flies around for Dallas. And then Jack Sandberg, another guy in the middle. Kenneth Murray, who I didn't remember they had. I like him. I think he's a guy that was at the Arizona Cardinals, but Kenneth Murray Jr. is a good linebacker too, pretty quick. And then the corners for Dallas. Obviously they have Trevon Diggs. He's questionable, which Malik Hooker at safety. And then they have Deron Bland, obviously. The last year, or 2 years ago, I think he was leading the league in interceptions. And so they do have some pieces on the back end. They have Khalil Elam, who was a guy out of Florida who bounced around a little bit, who's a pretty good corner as well. So the Packers do have an opportunity to beat these guys, make some plays against them. Donovan Wilson, the other safety. So some players on the back end for this Cowboys team. Some players up front, obviously Kenny Clark, and then the linebacker with Clark, another Clark, and then and then with Diggs and Hooker on the back end. So this Cowboys defense does have some players, but again, the Bears went after him last week. Caleb Williams looked like, Pro Bowl player last week, and we all know he's not. So for Green Bay, can we get after this Cowboys defense? Again, like I said, it starts up front with the offensive line. Rasheed Walker, need him to start playing a little bit better, really start becoming that elite left tackle. And then whoever goes in that left guard spot. I know Aaron Banks started and he came out, so I'm hoping that if Jordan Morgan goes there, he can stay there and kind of get solidified at that position. Keep bopping these young guys around. They're going to make mistakes, like we've been seeing. And then maybe if Zach Tom can't go again at right tackle, maybe leave Anthony Bellin at that right tackle spot, keep Jordan Morgan at that left guard. I know Morgan likes to be at tackle, but he's not going to be because Rasheed's at tackle, so he's going to have to get kicked inside. But some consistency with some of these players on this offensive line might be what the Packers need. Sean Ryan playing great at right guard, Elkin Jenkins playing great at center, and then whoever can be right tackle, left guard keeps flopping back and forth. So hopefully Zach Tom can get healthy and Aaron Banks can get healthy. I know Banks was out with an injury last week, came back and got a new injury this week. Tom tried to go last week and realized he couldn't go and had to come out. So we'll see where those guys are at. But Tucker Kraft, I want to see him step up again. He had his first 100-yard game against the Commanders, and then only 30-something yards last week against the Browns. So can he keep developing? I know Luke Musgraves didn't really get in the fold. I know John Patrick Fitzgerald got his first touchdown. That's exciting for him, but we need some more of these playmakers in the tight end room to start stepping up, Musgraves and Kraft. And then at wide receiver, obviously they didn't get a lot of opportunities because every time Jordan Love handed it off, it seemed like it got stuffed. Every time that we threw it short real quick, it seemed like it was an okay play. And then every time he tried to step back and do more than a 3-step drop, he was getting sacked or pressured or not able to throw. So the receivers didn't have a lot of opportunities. But I really want to see Daub start stepping up, become that wide receiver one because, Reed's out, Watson is out. He's got to really do that Wicks can be that guy too, but somebody's got to do that. And then guys like Malik Heath and Golden have to really start stepping up. I did see Bo Melton out there at wide receiver for a play or two for Green Bay. So obviously with the injuries, they're getting kind of thin. They want some speed out there. They bring in Melton. So something to watch. But I do like what Savion Williams brings. I know they bring out a mid for some Wildcat packages. I don't love running the Wildcat on first down. I don't love taking the quarterback out on first down. That really kind of narrows down what your options are for that play. And on first down, you need to make the defense think that you're going to be about to run anything. And so use him for like a second down, bring him in so you don't really know if it's going to be a run, a pass, or what he's going to do, or which way he's going to go. So try to use him a little bit better. LaFleur had some mistakes. Jordan Love should never have called hike on that 3rd and 1 right before the quarter switch, and then 3rd and 4 should never have thrown it again down there in the red zone. On your own red zone, should have just got the yards, made them take the timeout. So some coaching issues, some player issues, some play issues by the team and overall. So a lot to clean up for Green Bay. And going down to Dallas, a place where the Packers have been great over the course of the last few years playing in Jerry World at Dallas Stadium. Packers have won, and they've had a lot of success. So hopefully we go down there. Even Jordan Love did a couple years ago in the playoffs. We went down there and beat the Cowboys. So very exciting to see what this offense kind of can do. Get Josh Jacobs the football, keep running the ball, use Emmanuel Wilson, use Chris Brooks a little bit more, a guy that can catch and run the ball out of the backfield. Get these playmakers the ball in space and see what these guys can do. Obviously, though, it all starts up front with this offensive line. Can they give Jordan Love the time he needs to be able to throw the ball downfield, get it to his playmakers? I mean, that first week against Detroit, guys were running free. Against the Washington Commanders, guys were running free on third downs and stuff. When they brought blitzes, they didn't have as much time. But against the Browns, they had no time to do anything. And so they really need to clean some of that stuff up, bring in an extra guy to block. I know they were really focused on Myles Garrett, but you need to be able to play ball still too and not be overly focused and still concentrate on the things that you need to accomplish. So hopefully the Packers can clean those things up. I was super high on them coming into week 3. I think the whole world was super high on them coming into week 3. And then everybody's kind of back down to earth now after the loss to the Browns. Not ideal. The Browns have been notoriously a bad team in this league for the last 30 years. More quarterbacks than anybody else, starting quarterbacks than anybody else. And we've had the least, and they beat us. And so tough way to lose, especially being up 10-0 in the fourth quarter with like 3 minutes to go. But for the Packers, can we bounce back against these Cowboys? Cowboys are looking for a win. They're going to be a tough team. I know that they're looking to bounce back. Also, oh yeah, they did beat the Giants, didn't they? So they are 1-2. I knew they weren't 0-3, but I was like, who did they win against? So they lost against the Eagles week 1. They beat the Giants the following week in that shootout in overtime, and then they got beat by the Bears 31-14. So for the Packers, this looks like a team that they can beat. They're losing CeeDee Lamb. They don't have, obviously, we took Micah Parsons from them. Kenny Clark might be out. They don't have the same pieces around them. I think they did get Jadeveon Clowney, but I don't know if he's going to start or not. So pretty much all we have to watch out is for Turpin in the punt game and the kick return game. Shut down the run game, and the Packers should come out of this one victorious. I really do like Green Bay in this game, but if they play like they did against the Browns, they're just not going to beat anybody. If they play like they did against the Lions, they can beat anybody. So what Packers team will we get? We will see. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Packers, let's say 27-17 this game, 27-17. Packers win. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Go Pack Go. Peace out.